on.
Brilliant, thank
you.
Yeah,
fab. So just to start with, so what is a balanced diet? Just have a little think what it might mean to you, what you've heard before, because sort of everyone's opinions, what we think about a balanced diet is all different. So just sort of think about what that might mean to you. So what is a balanced diet? So it's making sure that our body is getting all the right nutrients. So from that, we can have, if we sort of aim to have some foods from all of the different food groups, that will help with a wide variety of foods as well. So you're getting your nutrients from all of the different food groups, which we'll have a look at in a minute. We've obviously got eating sort of 5 portions of fruit and vegetable each day. We're aiming for the 5. If you're doing more than 5, then that's obviously brilliant, but sort of aiming for the 5. If it's any less than that, you know, that's fine. We're just a little aim, and just sort of consuming the right amounts of foods and drinks, and just sort of being more mindful about what we're having, and things like that, really. So we've got the Eat Well guide, or sometimes it's called the Eat Well plate. So we've got our 5 different sections in the Eat Well plate. Like I said, you might have seen it before, you might be sort of aware of it. So we're just going to have a little look at that a little bit further. So we've got our fruit and vegetables. So that sort of takes up 1/3 of the plate. We've got our carbohydrates, so our starchy foods, our breads, rice, pastas. We've got this little tiny slim bit, which is our oils and our spreads. So that's things like butter, olive oil, things you might cook with. Then you've got the blue section, which is our dairy and alternative products. And then lastly, we've got the pink section. So that's our protein. So our meats, pulses, fish and eggs as well go into there. So the first little section is our fruit and vegetable section. So our fruit and vegetables, they're a really good source of vitamins, minerals and fibres. I know a lot of the time people are sort of saying you need to have 5 a day. And sometimes we don't always know like why. So it's quite nice to know the meaning behind why. So yeah, it's got a good vitamins, minerals, fibre, really helps with digestion as well. So like I said before, aiming to eat at least 5 portions and a variety of fruit and veg a day. Mixing it up makes it a little bit more interesting, even trying a little bit something new maybe perhaps. You can go for fresh, there's frozen, tinned, or which is in juices as well, which is quite a good alternative as well because they'll obviously keep longer. And with our fruit juices and smoothies, sometimes we have to be a little bit careful just because they add extra sugars in. So we try and sort of recommend to have about 150 ml a day. So that's like a little glass full. Just because they can add extra bits in. So the next is the next part, which is carbohydrates. So we've got the starchy foods, so our breads, pastas and things like that. So they're the good source of energy, and they have a good range of nutrients in them as well. So they should make up sort of over 1/3 of the food that we eat. So things like opting for like whole wheat, so brown rice, which are higher in fibre as well. We'll normally see these when we have them at breakfast, so our toast, cereals, foods like that, because they sort of fill us up for longer, and they give us quite a lot of energy. So they're a good sort of food for our breakfast. Then we've got dairy, and alternatives. So they're a good source of protein and vitamins as well. So they've got calcium in, which helps with our bones and teeth. So especially with younger children or children, because they're growing, their bones are growing, they really help support the growth of that. So other alternatives, so you could have soya, almond, oat milk. They're a good alternative as well. Next, we've got protein. So they're obviously our fish, meat, eggs, beans, pulses. So they're really good for growth. They also repair the body, repair the muscle, and they've also got a little bit of vitamins and minerals in there as well. So like I said, you've got beans, lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans. They're a good alternative to meat as well, especially if you're sort of vegetarian. And they're lower in fat and higher in fibre and protein as well. And if you're going to sort of opt for the meat and the mince options, looking at the meat that's sort of not as processed like bacon, ham and sausages, just because they've got a bit more goodness in there for us. If you did want to sort of swap or have a little look at that further. And then if you are sort of into eating fish, that you quite enjoy fish, sort of aiming for at least 2 portions of fish a week is a really good tip as well, really important. Then lastly, we've got oils and spreads. So in our oils and spreads, which is obviously like our butters, lards, sunflower oil, they're a good source of energy, and they also help absorb our vitamins. So from the vitamins and minerals we're getting from our body, from our other foods, they help absorb that, and they give us like a little layer of fat sort of to keep us warm, like a little bit of insulin. Unsaturated fats, they're sort of a little bit healthier, so we have to sort of be a little bit careful because oils and spreads are high in energy, so it's recommended we sort of have them in smaller amounts. But sort of the unsaturated fats are including sort of rapeseed oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, sunflower oils, things that we'd normally sort of cook with. And then we've got the last little section, so our foods which are high in fat, salt and sugar. So sometimes you might see this on the Eat Well guide as the red triangle to the side. This is obviously not part of the plate anymore. It did used to be sort of part of the plate. They've now sort of moved it to the side. So the things that are all treats, we all enjoy them. And so it's sort of things like chocolate, cake, biscuits, fizzy drinks, ice creams. So they're not as nutritious for us. So we should sort of eat them within moderation, sort of as part of the balanced diet. So having like little bits or little amounts of them, having them in the moderation is okay. So why are they important for our bodies? So we've looked at all the different sections of the Eat Well guide. So just a quick little task, or just something for you to think about really. We've got on the left-hand side, we've got the heading. So we've got fruit and vegetables, carbohydrates, protein, dairy, oils and spreads, sugars and salt. And then on the right-hand side, we've got little examples. So they're all muddled up, they're all jumbled up. So I just want to give you sort of a couple of minutes or a minute or so, just have a little read of them. If you know where they might link up to, just have a little think about it and see if you sort of know any of them or not, and then I will reveal the answers for you. So hopefully that's sort of, you've managed to sort of have a little read of them. You might have known some, so if I just reveal the answers. So our fruit and vegetables, yeah, they give our bodies vitamin, minerals, fibers, really helps with digestion. Our carbohydrates gives our brain and our body energy. Protein helps build our muscle and repairs. Dairy strengthens our bones and our teeth. Oils and spreads helps, healthy fat helps to keep us insulated, keeping our bodies warm. And then our sugars and salt, our brain depends on glucose. So this helps balance electrolytes in our body and prevent muscle cramping. So again, the things like what we'd call in the red triangle. So having a little bit of these in moderation is okay, as they do sort of do this for us as well. So just a few little mealtime tips, just to sort of, you know, hopefully make them a bit more pleasant, a little bit less stressful for you. So same time, same place, especially with children. This is a really good point, because children love a routine. They like to know when things are happening, when they're happening. So if you sort of have them at the same time, so for example, sitting at the table together at 5:30, 6 o'clock, then they know when that's dinner time. Be a role model, so they're going to look up to you. They're the people that they're looking up to. You are the person that you are their role model. So, you know, you set the rules as well. So it's a good chance for children to try new foods. So if you're trying something, or you're trying something that they might not have tried before or a little bit wary of, they're going to see you trying it, see that you're enjoying it, hopefully. They are more likely to sort of give it a go as well and try a little bit. So just enjoying dinner time with the family. So make it sort of Like I said, same time, same place, if you're sitting up the table together, which links in here. So actually, like, you know, make it sort of a family thing. Sometimes we might always be in a hurry or something, but doing it as a family and enjoying it. So it's a good point to sort of sit and have a conversation, chat about how your day's been, chat about maybe the foods as well, which is quite important. So occasionally make meal times different. So you could have like a picnic. You could change it up and do sort of fajitas and then put it all in the middle, and you will help yourself, and just make it a little bit different. Also with that, children love to help. So if there's anything that they can do, so like set things out on the table or help you get things ready, it makes them feel a little bit more involved in the process as well, which is a really nice thing. So vary your meals. Sometimes we'll have the same meals, and we sort of repeat the same meals, and you know, sometimes we do get a little bit fed up of them, a little bit bored of them. So looking at different recipes sort of online, they're really good tools. We've got some on our OneLife Suffolk website, some different recipe cards. So just varying it, changing it about a bit, making it a little bit more interesting. So make meals colourful with a variety of foods. So again, if you think of the Eat Well plate, there's lots of different foods on there, and if we're wanting to sort of aim for the balanced diet, we're going to have a bit of everything. So making it really colourful, so mixing it up with the vegetables, having different colour pepper, sweet corn's a nice bright colour. Sometimes with the beige food, it just looks, to them, to children, it might look a little bit bland. So like when you mix it up and having that, you can, it's a good talking point. You can comment on the food, and it takes their attention to the food as well, so it makes them have a little look and notice it a little bit more. Don't stress about the mess. I know it is sometimes really hard, but if children are aware that you're sort of feeling quite stressed or worrying about the mess, that can sort of reflect on the child as well. So you know, it's fine, we can clear it up, or put like a mat underneath the table sometimes, and you can just wipe clean. Avoid technology. Again, that sort of links with sitting together and enjoying it and making it a family time. So you're not getting distracted, you're enjoying the meal, you're talking to each other, and yeah, making it more colourful and appealing. Again, you can talk to them, direct their attention to the food, have a little look at that more, and just enjoy the balance and the enjoyment of the food as well. It's really important to enjoy it. So moving on, we've got our snacks. So a snack is sort of, any food can be a snack, but choosing something that's going to fill us up and give us energy until we go for our next meal. So something that we know is going to fill us up is something maybe from the carbohydrate section. So maybe some toast, a crumpet, something like that. So we should enjoy 2 snacks a day. And one of the snacks will count from dessert. So maybe have one mid-morning, and then if you know you might have a dessert, you could maybe have a little bit of an earlier dinner and then have a dessert, so there's not a long time for them to wait, or just give them something really, really small if they're going to have dessert. So just some examples. You've got your fresh fruit, you've got fruit in tins as well, maybe juice and not the syrups, just because with the syrups that can add the sugar on. And they last longer as well, so you can sort of buy them from the shops and they'll last in the cupboards. You've always got them to hand, whereas sometimes when we get fruit, especially in the summertime, it can go off quite quickly because of the warm weather. So getting the tinned fruit in the juice is really important, and you can always use that juice and give it to the child to drink as well as part of sort of their fruit. Crackers, part of our carbohydrates. Got toast, bagels, carrot, cucumber sticks. You could use a dip and have some hummus. Rice cakes, a fruit tea cake, whole wheat biscuits are quite a good option, or like a digestive biscuit, and sort of unsalted nuts that will come under our proteins as well. So if, you know, with snacks, we sort of say they are quite important, because skipping snacks or skipping meals will then make us more hungry and want to sort of snack on things more during the day. So it's important to sort of have our breakfast and then have a little mid-morning snack just to keep us going until lunch, and again in the afternoon to then save us till lunch, till tea time.
So we're going to look at mindful eating now. So we think about focus on how the food makes you feel while you eat it. Sort of slow down as you're eating so that you're more aware that when you're getting full. Stop eating when you're full. Eliminate distractions by turning off the TV, putting down your phones, and making the meal the focus of that time. Again, chew thoroughly, so we're appreciating the food that we're having and that we're sort of slowing down, sort of taking it all in and really sort of acknowledging and appreciating the fact and giving our stomach the time to send that signal to our brains that we are, or when we are full. Serving out portions in advance can sort of stop from overeating or undereating even. So we've got more of an awareness of how much you're going to eat. And eat slowly and don't rush your meal. And remember that you don't have to finish what's on your plate. If it's too much, then or feel free to ask for more if you're not satisfied with what you have had. Then yeah, those things are both all totally fine. I'm going to look more about sort of eating healthy on a budget and some tips to help with that, which is really good, especially with times at the moment. So you can buy in bulk to save money. Use tinned and frozen foods. Tinned and frozen foods like fruits and things like that, like we've spoken about before. They are generally frozen when they're at their peak, so they hold their nutritional value and they will last longer, so that will save on waste as well. Opting for the cheaper sort of supermarket own brands, will be cheaper, but then it might just they opt for cheaper brands, so yeah, things like that. Well, yeah, opting for cheaper brands, so yeah, the foods will be cheaper and potentially healthier as well. So meal planning is a good tip as well. So if you make sure that you know exactly what you're going to be going for when you go shopping, so you make a list of, you've got an organized list of what you're going for, so you're not sort of reaching for deals and grabbing things that take your fancy while you're there. So that sort of then accounts for like trying not to shop while you're hungry. So again, you can sort of grab things that look sort of more appealing at the time. And you can also sort of batch cook and freeze leftovers as well. So that might be a good tip for eating on a budget. So you cook sort of meals, sort of bigger meals in advance, so that you've got plenty leftovers that you can save for another day. And there are apps such as Too Good To Go, which can save you money, where you might get, like, for example, on Too Good To Go, you could say you pay a couple of quid and you'll get what's left over from a supermarket, which would be really helpful if you're sort of into making sort of stews and slow cooker recipes and things like that, because you'll just get random sort of vegetable leftovers. So looking again at fresh fruit versus tinned fruit, things like that. We have got, so yeah, they can be cheaper if they're tinned or frozen. And as we said before, they hold their nutritional value. And also, yeah, they hold their nutritional value. You'll save on waste and things will last for a lot longer. So yeah, you won't be saving on waste. You won't be saving on waste. Can be cheaper, lasts longer, yeah, and still tastes just as good. It's especially nice if you're making smoothies and things like that. You can use like frozen strawberries, and they can be blended up, and then it adds that little bit of extra sort of your ice. So that would be cool as well. So yeah, definitely a good tip. So how to eat well on a budget, shop with others. So with extended family or friends, if there's offers on, say buy one get one free or 3 for 2, but you don't necessarily want all of that for yourself, then it's a good tip to sort of share those out. Again, cook with others. If you're batch cooking your meals, then it might be a nice idea to swap some of your leftovers with other people, so you're not eating the same thing over and over again. Using the own brand products again will work out cheaper and will taste just as nice, possibly. And yeah, and drinking water instead of your fizzy drinks it's going to be a lot cheaper just to drink water and save on some of your sugars as well. Shop for produce in season, so things that are in season at the moment are going to be cheaper, more locally grown, so they'll be cheaper for the supermarkets to get them in, whereas produce that is out of season might be a higher price because it takes more money for the transportation and things like that for the fruit and vegetables to to get to the area. And again, buying in bulk will help to save money, and is cost effective to buy in bulk things like, you know, big packs of rice or things like that, and tinned food. So we're going to talk about sort of takeaways. So have a little think about some of your favorite takeaways. So I'll just give you a little minute or so. Think about some of your favorite takeaways, and then we'll talk about how we could potentially make these on your budget as an alternative. So yeah, if you've thought about some of your favorite takeaways. So thinking about McDonald's as an example, how could we make this on a budget? So Aldi and other supermarkets in their frozen section will have similar products, such as like the chicken nuggets and things like that, that you can make at home that will be work out cheaper than buying from McDonald's. Also, like fish and chips, for example, it's fairly quick and easy to and cheaper to make your own version. So yeah, you can use potatoes to make your own chips, and use leftover bread to make breadcrumbs to make that coating on the fish. And then pizzas, for example, rather than ordering in an expensive pizza, supermarkets do meal deals as well. So they'll include sort of similar to your pizzas that you will get ordered in, and then the time that it take to cook yourself would be quicker than waiting for any deliveries to come. So that is another bonus to that. So talking about the labels that are on foods, and what is a food label? Nutrition labels can help you choose between products and keep a check on the amount of foods you're eating that are high in fat, salt, and added sugars. Most pre-packed foods have a nutrition label on the back or the side of the packaging. So what information is on a food label? So maybe if you've got some there close by, or quickly go and find some sort of food packaging and have a look at the label and see if you can see some of these things that are on there. I'll give you just, a quick minute or so just to go and find something to have a look at, and then we'll talk through what we find on the labels. So looking at the food labels, they'll generally have a title on there, which will so you're aware of what the food is. They'll also have the picture included as well. That'll make the food look more appealing. So maybe once you actually open it, it might not look like the picture on the front, but they will have a picture on there as well, so you can see what you're getting. The company or brand, or maybe the shop that it comes from, should be on the label. We'll have cooking instructions for things that need to be placed in the oven and cooked. Serving sizes, which is a handy one to sort of keep note of. For example, like your 500 milliliters bottles of like fizzy drinks, they are generally 2 servings in those bottles, although you might not realize that without looking. Now we have like use by dates and best before dates. So the use by date will generally be for fresh items that will go off after the certain date, so it is important to eat them by that date, whereas the best before items are generally things that might last a little bit longer, and if you eat them after that date, they might not be quite as good, but they're still perfectly safe to eat. The weight should be on there as well to help you sort of measure out portion sizes and things like that. Storage instructions, whether it needs to be refrigerated or not. Ingredients, nutritional information, and then allergens. So allergens, so things that people are commonly allergic or intolerant to, are generally written in bold on the ingredients list to make them easier to find. And then nutritional information, such as sort of the amount of protein, fats, energy, and things like that in the foods, will also be on there. We have the traffic light system, which is on some foods. They don't have to put it on foods, but it is a useful way of quickly seeing sort of these sort of fats, saturated sugars, salts, and energy in a food. So yeah, like I say, not all foods have to have it on there. So as we can see, like red would mean that it's high. The amber sort of color means that it's medium, and then the green means that it's low in those things. So the fats, the saturated fats, the sugar, and the salt. And this sort of chart on the side here, if you feel free to take a picture of that if that's any use to you, that sort of contains the sort of information on how they classify each. So what counts as being high in the sugars. So anything over 15 grams counts as being high in the sugar per 100 grams. So if these traffic light symbols aren't on the food packaging, you can sort of look at the ingredients and nutritional information and work that out for yourselves. So yeah. Now, as we said about on portion sizes on the food packaging, generally portion sizes on the food packaging are geared towards the average adult. But for children, we sort of think about other ways that we can measure the portions. So for carbohydrates, for example, we consider like a cupped hand, the amount that you would fit into like a cupped hand to be a portion. With protein, we consider to be about the palm size for a portion. Vegetables, we'll think about 2 cupped hands as a portion. For the oils and spreads, because we only need a little bit of that, it's just sort of like a thumb tip. As we said before, like 150 mils is like a fruit juice or smoothie portion. Cheese or dairy portion will be about the thumb size, and then fruit will be about the size of your fist, so maybe that's sort of like an apple or something like that. But it is important to note that we aren't limited to 1 portion per meal or per day. As we've said, like fruit and veg, for example, we look to have 5 a day. Excuse me. Whereas like the carbohydrates, we can add up to 6 or 7, you know, even to sort of 7 to 9 for sort of like older males and things like that. So it's not that you're limited to 1 cup of carbohydrates per meal. You can sort of spread the 6 or 7 out over the course of the day. Now we're going to talk a little bit about sleep. Now, it may at first feel as if it's slightly off topic, but poor sleep can lead to people making poor food choices. When you're feeling tired, you're more likely to grab sort of a convenient food that might not be the sort of the best for you. So ways to improve your sleep might be to create a bedtime routine by turning off screens at least 30 minutes before bed, creating a good sleeping environment, reading a book before going to bed, listening to some relaxing, soothing music, and sort of being active throughout the day. Now, thinking about breakfast, once we've had our sort of excellent night's sleep, why is it important to have breakfast? Do you guys know why breakfast is considered to be the most important meal of the day? So I'll just leave you a little think about that, and then we'll sort of discuss it more in a second. So yeah, breakfast gives you energy in the day. Breakfast foods tend to be carbohydrates. So your cereals, your toasts, your things like that, reduces hunger throughout the day. Wakes you up in the morning by giving you energy and will help to sort of improve concentration. So yeah, breakfast is really important to sort of kick off your day in the right way. Some ideas for breakfast might be bagel, porridge with fruit. So we're hitting maybe 2 or 3 different sort of sections of the Eat Well guide. Cereals, a grilled cooked breakfast rather than fried. Yogurt with fruit, croissants, toast, or overnight oats might be a handy idea for sort of people that maybe have rush sort of limited time in the morning, so you can prepare it sort of overnight and sort of just take it out of the fridge and have it sort of ready to go the next morning. Now we'll talk more about drinks and hydration. Water is important for many bodily functions. it's important to try and drink 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. If you don't like the taste of it, it's perfectly fine to add some fruit or a little bit of sort of no added sugar squash. Yeah, that still counts towards your sort of 6 to 8 glasses, because fizzy drinks may contain more sugar than you realize. So yeah, opt for the no added sugar diet or sugar-free versions if you can. And it's important to note that energy drinks contain high levels of caffeine, which is why they're sort of, yeah, anyone under the age of 16 isn't really sort of allowed to buy them and consume them.
That's also with like tea and coffee as well.
Yeah.
There's a little bits of caffeine in. So just being a little bit mindful about how much, if your children do have like tea and coffee, you know, how much they're having, because it's got a little bit of caffeine in. No, it's fine, but just being a little bit mindful about it, really.
So to summarize, it's really important to welcome all foods in your diet in moderation. We don't say that any food is considered bad. Some foods may be more nutrient dense than others, but all play a role in developing sort of a healthy relationship with food. So it is really good to sort of try new foods, yeah, and then eat in moderation. As we say, no foods is considered bad. So yeah, it's really nice to sort of try different things and yeah, develop a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah, and there's lots of information sort of online, on our website on OneLife Suffolk under the children and families. There's lots of information on there further, and like the NHS as well. There's lots of good information on there if you wanted to look at anything further. So just wanted to say, like Rob and I just want to say like thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We will stay on for sort of like next 5-10 minutes if you did have any questions for us.